Hey everyone, Mortgage Nerd here. Wanted to talk to you about what I promised, lender versus broker. We're going to go into detail. It's going to be a series of videos longer than usual. First we're going to talk about what a lender is, what are the different types of lenders. We're going to talk about what brokers are. I'm going to dispel some myths because the truth is they're both very good models. It just depends on the company. We're also going to talk about what if you're able to do both. What if you're able to be a lender and a broker, a hybrid, where you're not constrained to one model or the other? So let's get right into it. First of all, we're going to talk about lender. Now, I saw someone post on social media the other day a really nice video. You could tell that they got a graphic designer to make it, and it showed a person, and they said, okay, this is a broker, this person, and they can use different lenders. So they showed three different, banks, I guess you could say. And they said, but the problem is their underwriting takes way too long because they don't have it in-house. So let's dispel that first myth. Just because you have an underwriter in the next room or in-house as opposed to shipping the underwriting somewhere else does not mean it's faster. I've been in both models. I've been at a branch lender. I've been at large lenders. I worked for MetLife in Genworth for a while. And I've worked for small mom and pops where we ship out the underwriting to any lender we choose. Doesn't matter what model that is, underwriting gets backed up. It doesn't exist where underwriting is always going to be fast. You reach an end of the month and there's a ton of business in the pipeline, they're going to be backed up. By the same token, the broker model has the same. So if you look back at my posts, and you know what, we'll flash them up here on the screen. We had same day underwriting. So we submitted a loan in the morning and we got the conditions back in the evening. Well, guess what? Our rates dropped. And if you see one of my other videos, I will not lose a loan to rate. When you look at that, ever since this change in our rates dropping, well, now underwriting is taking a little bit longer. But yet I just posted this week, a couple days ago, you might be watching next week, so I posted that it took 2 weeks for us to get a loan closed as a broker. So don't believe what anybody tells you when they say this model underwrites faster, this model is slower, or vice versa. It's the company. It's the amount of underwriters. It's the amount of loans that are in the pipeline at the time. Now, if you're stuck with only a set amount of underwriters in your office, the in-house ones, and you're busy, then you're stuck. But if you know that one lender is extremely busy and another one is faster at whatever time you're in, and you know that you need to close a loan faster, then you have more choices. So let's think outside the box. Don't believe everything that everyone tells you. So, okay, what is a lender? So there are two types. There are banks and there are non-banks. So banks, we all know, they're on the corner of the street, everywhere that you go. Those are banks. Banks are usually more conservative. So they're not going to take every loan. Think about how much overhead banks have. Think about the tall buildings in downtown with the bank's name on it. They have to fund all of that. They have to pay for all of that. So it doesn't always mean that if you bank there, you're going to get the best rate. It doesn't mean that you aren't going to get the best rate. Now, what banks have that I really like is portfolio loans. A portfolio loan is their own private mortgage that no one else offers. So everybody offers conventional FHA. That's like the bread and butter for everybody out there. The branch lender model, they do a lot of that. That's pretty much all they do. So banks have their portfolio loans. Now non-banks, those are your Quicken loans, your Rocket Mortgage, your PRMG, your Calibers. Those are bigger throughout the country, Fairway Independent. Those last three are branching companies. Quicken is a call center style company. And they're all good. They all have their own positives. A lot of people use them because they're bigger and they're more visible. So those are non-bank lenders. Then there's smaller mortgage company non-bank lenders. Like I just became a lender, so I'm going to be that small mortgage company lender. Now, the bank lenders, they underwrite themselves. It might not be in-house in their bank. They might ship it somewhere else. Non-banks, the same thing. It could be one way or the other. So it's all the same. Then you've got the smaller mortgage company lenders or the branch lenders where it could be the same. You could underwrite in-house or underwrite somewhere else. And if you have that choice, it's better because then you can pick and choose who you're going to sell the loan to. Now, what a lender does, all the lenders do, is they take their money and they lend it to you at closing. 90% of the time, they're going to sell that loan at some point or another. So when they sell that loan, the servicer has that loan. There are companies, there are lenders, non-bank lenders, even here locally in Miami, that service their own loans, which is great. That's actually my ultimate goal. For me, becoming a lender is to become a servicer down the road. So that's great, that they hold on to their loans and they service them. Does it mean any different for you? It's arguable. Some cases might be yes, some cases might be no. There are services that have really bad names out there. So, in a nutshell, that's what the lenders are. Now, what's a broker? As I said before, I saw that video where we had this person who was selling, who they would look for different, what seemed to be banks, and they could pick. That's what a broker does. A broker does not close in their own name. You see the name of the lender that they chose, and they pick which one is best for you. So think about that. Think about you're having a hard time qualifying. None of the banks will take you. The non-banks are, they're not fitting their perfect little guidelines. Then a broker can say, hey, look, I've got all these other lenders. Now, the downside is some of these lenders do have long underwriting times. So we just had one case right now where we couldn't place the loan with any of our better lenders. So we had to go to a lender that accepted that lower score down to 580. And there was gaps in their employment that we had to explain away. So yeah, it takes longer to underwrite those loans because they're riskier. They're manually underwritten. We don't use DU or LP, which is desktop underwriting systems. We use them, but they have to manually underwrite as well. So how is that a bad thing? We're getting your loan closed. What if you could pick? What if you could say, I'm going to be the lender on this one. You're an A-paper client, and I'm going to be the lender. I'm going to lend you from our line of credit. I'm going to lend you that money, you're going to close in that, and I'm going to sell it. Yeah. But I'm going to sell you to a good servicer because I want to make sure that you're taken care of down the road, not one of these that has a ton of lawsuits after the real estate crash and things like that. So we can choose which non-bank to sell it to, who's going to underwrite. We can choose to have it underwritten by one of these that only offer loans to brokers. Because some of them won't buy their loans from the smaller lenders, from the branch lenders. So there's more choices. Now I mentioned portfolio loans with banks. None of the branch lenders can have an agreement with a bank that has a portfolio loan. You have to be a broker. So what if you could offer conventional and FHA? You could broker the standard stuff as well. You could offer the portfolio loans that all the small banks have. You can offer everything. Now, there's a saying I've always loved to throw out there, because for years I only did reverse mortgages. And I would always say a master of all, a jack of all trades, a master of none, right? And I agree. But here's the thing, here's something that coming back into all mortgages over the last couple of years that I've learned, is that a mortgage is a mortgage. There's one mortgage in particular that is completely different than all the others. It's in reverse, I guess you could say. It's called the reverse mortgage. That one is completely different. People who have spent their careers doing mortgages look at that and say, I don't want to touch that. So that's one that you really have to know what you're doing. You have to specialize in it, and anybody in the industry will tell you that. But all the other mortgages, they follow same basic rules. How we calculate income, how we look at tax returns, how we do all these different things, how we look at credit. So when you hear someone out there saying lender is better or broker is better, step back and take it all with a grain of salt and say, well, which model are you? Can you broker if you're only saying lender is good? If you're a broker and you're saying it's better than lender, ask, can you lend your own money? So take it all for a grain of salt and see. What I'm creating is a hybrid of the two. The same way when I created the #1 reverse mortgage company in Florida from 2015 to 2017, the stats show it. No company in Florida closed more reverse mortgages than we did. And when I did that, when I started that, I said to everybody, I said, I want to find a way, because I had worked for small brokers and I worked for big lenders. How can we take and offer the service that the big lenders offer with the programs and rates that the brokers offer? And put those together. And I had 26 licensed originators in 6 states doing reverse mortgages for me. So we're doing the same here. If I succeeded the way I did in reverse, I'm going to do it again here. And we're just getting started. I just got this lender license. So always consider these different options. Come to me and ask me. Go shop it. I said it. I won't lose a loan to rate. Shop it. And I'll show you. And I'll tell you, look, we're a little slow right now, but you have a 30-day contract. We'll get it done. So thank you very much for this. Any questions, any concerns, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you about this more. Thank you.